What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Down South Up North. Guys, it's about that time. World Series Game 1 tonight. Dude, the Yankees versus the Dodgers. I hate both those teams so much, but Matt, how we doing, dude? And how do we feel about the World Series, man?
Not particularly happy with the outcome, but we'll get into the athletic alert in a second here. But
Yeah, do a deeper dive.
dude, this is October baseball. This is LA versus New York. It's crazy up here. There's a lot of fans repping the Yankees. Surprised actually. Usually the Yankees check out in like the middle of October, so to see that they're still here and playing ball. It's good for the game of baseball, I think. I mean, two juggernauts, they both spent a lot of money in the offseason, so if they weren't here, I think I'd be more surprised if these two teams weren't where they are right now than, where they are for tonight's game.
That's what I was about to say, dude. But we're going to jump straight into the athletic alert. I mean, we just talked about it for about 30 seconds. We're just going to be talking about the World Series, dude. I'm sure this was like the most like betted matchup for the World Series I can only imagine. Maybe the Braves were in there
I was going to
too.
say, out of the American League, I can't. I mean, maybe
Baltimore?
maybe go Rangers to repeat, but that just doesn't really.
I think their odds jumped down when they lost Jordan Montgomery
That's what I'm
and
saying. Like they lost
big
a couple
arms.
pieces of that puzzle. So, but yeah, Baltimore was. I mean, especially throughout the season, they improved. But I'm telling you, dude, like it's those that first series. It's best of three. So, Baltimore, they played great baseball against the Royals, and they lost both games. So, I know that round, first round really kills them, but I don't know. This is the Yankees and Dodgers 12th matchup. It is the most common World Series matchup, which is strange because Yankees haven't been to the World Series since 2009.
It's really been that long.
For at least for the Yankees. I mean, the Dodgers.
Last appearance was 2020 and they won.
I guess they technically won, but you and I both agree that's a easily an asterisk next to that one.
Easily. Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse ring.
So,
But I don't know, dude. Great matchup. Judge, Stanton, Soto versus Otani, Freeman, Betts. And the Dodgers, dude, even though I hate them, it's just like every offseason they just pick up like a superstar for like, I don't want to say superstar, but they pick up good players for cheap. They get Tyler Glass now.
Yeah,
Well,
some players, but they
I wouldn't say cheap.
They paid a lot for Otani.
Yeah. I mean, at the trade deadline is what I was trying to say. Like you get Tyler Glass now, who's I don't think he's pitching because he has to get surgery or something. I mean, I could totally be wrong, but you get Teoscar Hernandez, who played really good in the Met series. He did his part, and
Yeah.
dude, they got other players too. I'm trying to think. Tommy Edman played really well. And just a few other players. And then Yankees, dude, it's like both these teams, they're giving me Los Angeles Rams vibes. It's just like, let's just buy a ring.
Yeah, I
Fuck
mean
it.
that's how it is. So I think like I said, I think it's cool. I'm reading here. I believe the last time these two teams met in the World Series was in 1981. So
I was about to say it had to be at least 80s or
it's
90s.
been a long time, which is surprising because they're two of the biggest markets in the United States. 1 and 2 neck and neck.
Yeah.
But they both have like superstars. I mean, I watched every game the Mets played against the Dodgers, and the Mets were on a magic carpet ride.
They were playing good
But
baseball,
with the
dude.
Dodgers, dude, they're just sometimes you get to a point you just run into a better team, and that team, like 1 through 7, they had Kiki Hernandez hitting ninth, I believe, for the first 2 or 3 games, but then they switched him, up ahead in the lineup. That team 1 through 7 is lethal. in Los Angeles, and it's there's really nothing you can do. They were going through like 5 to 7 batters every single inning, and the Mets did not have the worst pitching. I mean, yeah, closing, that's a different story, but at least starting pitching was pretty solid for the Mets. And then you go against the Dodgers, it's like Ohtani is an automatic walk. Like, he is an automatic, he's getting on base because they're either going to walk him or they're going to have the nerves to throw to him, and he's going to launch it out of the ballpark. So,
Yeah, it's tough, dude. That Dodgers lineup, it's like, all right, the first 7 batters, dude. You go against Mookie, Ohtani, Freeman, Muncy, and I'm forgetting other really good players too. Edman, Hernandez. I don't know, dude. And it sucks because they also had a break off because they won the West, but it didn't face them at all. They just rolled in there, handled business. What was their path to the World Series? Who they play first round? They played
Dodgers?
Yeah.
Dodgers had the bye.
So they had the bye.
And then they
They're
played the Padres.
automatically
They played the Padres, who, by the way, had a 2-1 lead over the Dodgers, and then didn't score a run in both games where they could have closed out that series. Didn't score a run.
That is true. I forgot. They played the Padres where, dude, just a few years ago, Dodgers pick up Freddie Freeman and Padres just shut the door on them, sent them home early. Like, they could have done it again, but like you just said, they didn't score any runs in the games where they really had to play good baseball. Then they go against the Mets in the championship series, and bro, I was rooting for y'all, man. Y'all are playing good baseball, but sometimes you just, like you said, you run into a better team, and that's what happened, dude. Like, there's nothing much you could do when you face a guy like Ohtani and you have Mookie on second, and it's like, dude, like if I just throw a strike to this guy, he's gonna put it over the fence or in the gap, and Mookie scoring.
And then
like, there's nothing.
Dude, you get to 5 in their hitting lineup, and it's Max Muncy. I mean, that he would be 1 through 4 on almost any other team in Major League Baseball. Easily.
And he's been injured this year, and he hasn't been swinging the bat very well, but it's still Max Muncy. Like, this guy is he's a deadly hitter to throw the ball to when he's on a streak. So, I don't know, man. It's gonna be a fun series for sure. Garrett Cole's going to be on the bump for New York game 1. Who are the Dodgers going to have out there, you think? Buehler, Glasnow, or let's see.
I believe Glasnow is for tonight.
I thought he was injured. Let's see. Dodgers versus Yankees. SP, starting pitchers. But, dude, honestly, I haven't been watching much of the playoffs just because I don't know. I'm just kind of butthurt that the Braves didn't do shit. But
got the brooms out early. All right, Kyle. To wrap up, we're gonna play a little game called Who You Got.
Okay.
In this series, Yankees, Dodgers, they both have some amazing players on their team. And we'll end with predictions. But first off, we're gonna go series total for these ones. All right. So all in all, depending on if it goes 4, 5, 6, or 7 games, who's gonna score more runs, the Yankees or the Dodgers?
I'm not going to pull a Stephen A and say the Chargers are going to score more runs or points and they're going to lose. So I'm going to go with the Dodgers are going to score more runs.
They, like we just said, they can hit the ball. They're scary 1 through 7 in my book. So, but Yankees, I must admit, they've got some players too.
They do.
All right, we're gonna go stolen base leaders for each team: Shohei Ohtani and Anthony Volpe. Who has more stolen bases in the series, Ohtani or Volpe?
Dude, that's kind of tough because Volpe's a Jersey boy, dude.
Yes,
he played ball not too far from where you guys are staying at in Jersey. So I'm gonna go with it just, dude, that's so tough because I think Otani just gonna hit the piss out of the ball all series long. But I'm gonna go with Volpe, dude.
Okay, Volpe.
I'm gonna go with Volpe.
I mean, he's Otani gets on base more in my opinion, just because he gets walked every time he's up to bat. But Volpe, man, watching the Yankees in the playoffs, he's always getting base runs. He's always getting on base and making some plays. All right,
Yeah.
home run leaders. Obviously, you know who I'm going with from the Yankees. So more home runs in this series: Aaron Judge or Mookie Betts.
Oh, dude, my first initial thought was Judge, so I'm gonna stick with Judge. But I feel like Mookie's gonna have a really good series. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with Judge.
I mean, Judge has not been historically a great playoff performer. I think you would agree.
Yeah, dude, he just hit his first one like not that long ago.
Yeah, it was in in their last series against the Guardians, if I'm not mistaken. But he's still that threat, dude. I mean, he's a when he comes up to the plate, you have to be ready for Judge.
Yeah, no, you have
I
to.
mean, he's a big guy, and you know if he gets a hold of one. I mean, he's just like Shohei, right? He gets up there. Most of these guys are going to walk him to first. So, um, more total RBIs, Yankees or Dodgers?
Give me Dodgers.
Dodgers for RBIs. All right. And then lastly, we're gonna go. Who wins it?
Champion.
Who is the champion of the World Series, and who is the MVP?
I'm gonna go Dodgers in 7. Give me. I mean, you could go basic and say Otani's going to win an MVP or Mookie, but I'm gonna do a little sleeper pick. Someone that's been performing well all series long or all playoffs. Yeah, I want to say Tommy Edmond is gonna win MVP.
I mean, he came alive versus the Mets, and he's been a consistent playoff performer.
Dodgers in 7. Edmond takes home MVP. It's gonna be like kind of like a Iguodala situation. It's just like they just did their job like the best possible way, and he's gonna win it.
Okay, so it starts in Los Angeles, I believe. Um, Dude, I'm gonna have to play devil's advocate here, and I really hate doing this. I really hate picking the New York Yankees because I mean, I really hate both of these teams. Just as a Mets fan, I'm gonna go Yankees in 7. I think either way, it's gonna go 7 games. Dude, I'm taking Giancarlo Stanton. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Kyle, he's been on fire. Like in the postseason,
Yeah.
he's got a 294 batting average, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, and 34 at bats. I mean,
If he just hustles, if he just runs, he will. If Yankees do win the World Series, he's going to win MVP.
that's
If
awesome.
he keeps doing what he's doing and just runs, he's not running for some reason.
And dude, I mean,
It's like
Yankees are just as good 1 through 4, right? You got Stanton, you got Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, and you got Jazz Chisholm. Who I really don't like Jazz Chisholm.
I forgot they have Jazz Chisholm, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be a really big difference maker. Even though I hate him because he's been talking a lot of shit lately. He's already declared the New York Yankees World Series champions before they even got there. And I wanted him to be a New York Met after he left the Miami Marlins. But hey, when you get a call from the Yankees, nobody in the league's going to say no. So
They're gonna pay you a lot of money to put on those pinstripes every day, so you can't say no, dude.
all right, Kyle, you got the Dodgers in 7. I'm unfortunately taking the Yankees in 7. But I don't know, dude. I
Regardless,
think
it's gonna be a great
I think it's
series.
going to be a good World Series. This one's definitely going to be probably most watched in some time.
I think so too, and I would have liked a Subway Series World Series.
Hmm.
That's weird saying series twice in the same sentence, but that would probably be one of the most watched World Series in the past couple of years, maybe going past a decade, I think. Because, dude, that's just like that rivalry is just so deep and same city. I don't know, dude. It's just that would be so awesome to see that because we saw was it last year or 2 years ago where Stanton hit a bomb and he was running the bases, was talking shit to Lindor, and Lindor started mouthing off, and he hit the next inning and he hit a bomb and he started mouthing off or something like that. Like, imagine seeing that on the biggest stage in October. Like that'd be sick, man. But damn it, we just got to see LA and Yankees just go neck and neck, and hey man, it's gonna be a great series. Can't complain.
Maybe next year for the Mets and Braves.
Yeah. Oh, dude. But hey, good news. The Braves just fired their hitting coaches. Because that's 2 years in a row. No, actually, 3 years in a row where we come to October and it's like, bro, they probably can't even hit the ball off the damn tee.
The bats freeze up, dude. Bats
freeze
up. It's
like
that fall
they
weather.
look like Clark from Benchwarmers. It's like, hey, it's not a sword. He's like, you're not a sword.
Yep.
So we hired some guy from the Rangers, I believe. He's a Georgia native, Loganville, stand up. Young guy. Hopefully he could come in the organization, fit in well, and teach our guys how to hit the bats in October. So yeah, man, it's that's just good news. I just want to say it makes me feel good saying that.
Yep. All good for your Braves. But all right, that is gonna do it for first half. Guys, I'm not going anywhere. We will be right back with Gabe for his gambles and predictions for UFC 308. Don't go anywhere.
Feeling good, Matt. Feeling ready to make some money here for MMA. It's a strong weekend and a great card that we have on Saturday.
Yeah, we have the Hawaiian native and Max Holloway going against the Georgian. Gabe, I'm going to let you say his name because I do not really want to screw this up.
Ilia Topuria.
There we go. All right, that is the main fight highlighting UFC 308. This weekend, tomorrow night, Gabe, you have no Brazilians except in the prelims. And I'm sure somebody's name from Brazil is going to come up today. But I know you're doing individual picks, so we're not doing a parlay. Is that correct?
No parlay today. There's a lot of high odd things, and I don't like, risking the big underdogs on parlays. I think there's a way where we make some risky bets this weekend, and if one of them hits, we make a lot of money. So that's kind of the vibe I'm going for.
Hey, dude, that's music to my ears. I'm more of like, prop bet person. All right, I might throw some money on, if somebody like throws up a sign of Dana White or something in the stands in the audience. But without further ado, where you want to start? Let's go from the top, prelims, and move into the main card.
Yeah, that works. And we'll start off, Matt asked me before this broadcast, he's like, what Brazilian fighters are you taking? Because I always rock with Brazil. I got a little Portuguese in me, you feel me? But it's really just one fighter that I'm interested in. And he's a dog too, Matt. So Bruno Ferreira. Bruno Ferreira is plus 130. I'm taking him money line. Again, no parlays. Just keep it straight and simple. You double your money from whatever you put in. And Bruno, he's only had one loss. He's 12-1. He's versus a more experienced fighter who's 26-6, and Magomedov, another Magomedov in the cut, of course. But I think Bruno really just, even though he lacks the experience that his opponent has, I think he's more talented. A lot of people don't like him because he doesn't have as much of the ground game as Magomedov does. But I think Bruno, if it gets to the ground, you shouldn't be scared. You shouldn't be fearful if he goes to the ground. And his striking, I believe, is a little bit better than Magomedov. Also, this fight is very even. I mean, you can see it on the betting odds. It's a very evenly contested fight. Yeah. And I think Bruno just has that slight edge that makes me want to go with him. He's the lowest, even though he's an underdog, everything is big underdogs today. So he's the lowest risk percentage per se.
Of course, he's from Brazil. But
Come
dude,
on.
their stats are very similar. Their reach is 6 inches apart. They're around the same weight. Obviously, Saturday mornings, I believe they do weigh-ins. Just to make sure everybody's on the same page. But this should be a good one. I mean, of course it's Friday. Of course you're picking a guy from Brazil, even though you told me that you were going against somebody from Brazil today. But hey, maybe that's gonna be later in the show. Who knows? But yeah, I'm interested. This should be one of the top prelims of the night leading up.
Yeah, going into, and I'm going to have technically five picks today, so we got some good juice for you guys. But the next one I'm going against Brazil, Matt. Going into that.
There we go.
RDA, a legend, Rafael dos Santos is taking on Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal, even though he lost his last fight, it was against the guy that we're going to see against Bilal Muhammad fighting for the belt next. And Jeff Neal just packs the punch. I don't see Dos Santos having the wrestling game to get Neal down. Neal's got great takedown defense. He's a minus 300, so obviously everybody expects to get this done from the side of Jeff Neal, but I just think it's a guaranteed lock. I think that's something that you could put $100 on, only getting 20 back and feel fine with yourself.
I mean, RDA he must be old.
He's old.
I mean,
he's very old. He's a former champion, though, but he's very
up
old.
to almost 50 fights. This will be his 49th. I was not a math major, so cut me some slack. But yeah, it's 49th fight. But finally, Gabe, you're going with somebody from the USA. Against a Brazilian.
Yes, sir. I mean, it hurts.
But hey,
a little
look,
bit,
both coming off a loss. So regardless of what happens, like both these guys need to get back on the winning column.
Yes, sir. And I just believe RDA's past his prime so much that he just won't be a factor. Jeff Neal is in his prime currently, even though he lost his last fight. And I just think, honestly, if you want to go a little risky, I know this is the safest play, but even Jeff Neal by knockout, I think, is a pretty consistent tale.
All right, what do you got for us next? Still in the prelims, or are we going to the
Next, we're still in the prelims. Actually, it's going to be before the two fights I just mentioned, and it's Chris Barnett. I thought he was American, but apparently not. Chris Barnett, I mean, you might know him as the fat guy who does the worm and backflips.
Yeah, he's
crazy.
This is a big dude.
Crazy significant strikes, Matt. You'll see him do roundhouse kicks, which you never see at heavyweight. And Kennedy,
271.
Yeah, he's versing Kennedy. I can't pronounce his last name, but Nigerian fighter, very talented. And there's a reason that Kennedy is minus 800. But I think Chris Barnett by knockout, it's a plus 550, plus 600 bet. And I think that's something, and you'll see later on with my next two predictions, those big risk, high reward type of plays, I think can really pay off if you're betting on multiple that you like throughout the card. I think Chris Barnett more than likely loses this fight, right? But there is a chance. MMA is different. At heavyweight, everybody's got a chance, and especially Chris Barnett with his crazy striking style. If he can keep this off the ground, I think Chris Barnett has a good chance to knock his opponent out.
Okay, so for this one, I have to ask. I know this is a heavyweight bout. And usually, I know when you get – is heavyweight's the top, right? Top of the food chain in terms of weight classes?
Biggest you can be is heavyweight.
Right, so is there like a certain weight, like threshold, you go over that number, it doesn't matter how much you're in the heavyweight category? Because I'm looking at these guys, Barnett is 270, and this other guy, Kennedy, is 240. I don't know about you, but like I'm just looking at their physique, and it's not really matching up for me. So please explain.
Yeah, so heavyweight, it's a common misconception to be the biggest is the best for heavyweight. Some people have different sizes. Chris Barnett, so to your point, Matt, it's 265 is the limit, right? Which sounds pretty low, honestly, compared to some of these guys, but they got a weight cut. Chris Barnett definitely holds more of a belly, more fat to him, and Kennedy's more of a slim fighter. But that's why I also think, I mean, having fat doesn't matter because that adds to your overall strength. And that shows you're not weight cutting.
And I would say I would add durability too. No.
Yeah, I mean somewhat, like especially to the body, but also it can hurt your durability. Cardio. So cardio is the brain is connected to your oxygen, and if you have less oxygen, your brain shuts down a bit, easier to get knocked out. But like I said, like Barnett is not more skilled here. He's significantly shorter, by the way, Matt. He's of like, I think it's like 6 inches shorter, maybe 10,
Uh,
like something
Barnett's
crazy.
5'9". He's going against
Yeah, his opponent's
6'5".
6'5".
Yep.
So you look at that difference, it's going to be a lot harder for Barnett to get in. Again, I don't like Barnett to win, but I think he's a sneaky guy that could get a knockout and make everybody bite their words saying he's an easy pick against at the -800 line. I believe Kennedy's a little too high. But that's one of our big risks. You want to hear about the next two? It's main event time.
Finally.
It's main event time.
Let's go!
Main event time. Robert the Reaper Whittaker. He's a plus 300 dog already. Plus 600 by decision. Robert Whittaker is known for his cardio. He's known for just being an elite. Over Burns, Khamzat got tired in that 3rd round. Well, guess what, Khamzat? You got a 5-round co-main event, and Robert Whittaker will be putting it on you for rounds 3, 4, and 5. And that's where I think Robert Whittaker can get that decision win and really just show again why he belongs in that title picture for middleweight.
Yeah, I mean, you really hit the nail on the head there, dude. You're picking him
He's
at 5.
He's consistent. I have him going to decision. Rob by decision is plus 600.
Okay.
So, I mean, he could get the knockout in rounds 4 or 5, but I honestly kind of doubt it. I think Khamzat, even while he's exhausted, I think he'll still be able to pull enough energy to make it competitive. But I just think Rob's going to have that little bit of edge in the cardio department, which will go a super long way in this fight.
I mean, dude, I will say I think middleweight's probably my favorite weight class to watch, just because it seems like it's the most what's the word?
Like big and skilled.
Right. It's like, they have a mixture of everything.
Yeah, it's not just they got knockout artists, but they also got the most high skilled guys.
Exactly, skill based. It's pretty fair on both sides. But yeah, I like that about the middleweight. So I'm glad we're taking the guy from Australia.
Yeah, the Reaper, Robert Whittaker. Get it done.
I gotta say, dude, you gotta give me nicknames, because looking at these guys' names, I've said it before, but they come from all over the world. They come from Russia. They came from the country of Georgia. Serbia. Every single one. I'm like, dude, I don't want to butcher any names. I mean, I was taught that in school, but usually, Gabe, when I was in school, like, I'd have to put like syllables for these guys' names. Like, all right, this is, bam, bam, bam.
UFC has made me a lot better with name pronunciation.
I'm about to say, dude, there's not a name you can't pronounce if you know these guys. But all right,
Khamzat Chimaev is his opponent, and that's a bit of a tongue twister. But Khamzat's undefeated, looked good. But I think Rob has I think it's a 50-50 fight, and I think everybody at Vegas has this one wrong.
Yeah. All right.
Main event time.
Now we're getting to the main event. Please tell me we're going with the title.
We are going with the title fight, obviously.
Come on.
And again, we're not parlaying this because these are big dogs. Big dogs. Max Holloway. He is plus 350. Big underdog heading into this fight. And I like taking that money line or even going by decision. I think it's going to be a decision fight. But I think I'm just going to stick with the money line. It's a safer play. And I think Max Holloway really just has the volume and the output. Ilia Topuria is a great boxer. Don't get me wrong. He packs a very heavy punch. And he's going to be applying that pressure to Max Holloway early in the fight. But Max's volume, Ilia's never faced anybody with the volume of Max Holloway. And with his last opponent, Ilia Topuria faced Josh Emmett and struggled in those later rounds before he knocked out Alexander Volkanovski. And I just think that Emmett fight, when we look back at it, he struggled in that 3rd round. He lost some breath. He lost the conditioning that he normally has. And it slowly crept away. So you can't just unfactor that going into this Max Holloway fight, who has the record in 5 fights out of 10 for the most volume punches ever in the UFC for singular fights. So I think Max Holloway, even if he's getting beat early on, Matt, I think he comes back again, just like Whittaker, in those later rounds and looks better and better and looks better and better until they raise his hand for Max Holloway by decision, now holding the BMF championship and the featherweight world championship. 2 belts for Max Holloway. Gets it done. Like him, money line as a big underdog. When a lot of people are afraid to take him, we will not be. Max Holloway always has a chance in these fights, especially at plus 300.
And giving his opponent his first loss of his career, no?
First ever, yeah, the champion from Georgia, Ilia Topuria, he's a stud. And I do think he'll be in the division and maybe even get his belt back somewhat soon. But if you're looking at these lines, striker versus striker, and Max Holloway obviously doesn't have the knockout power that Ilia does, but Max Holloway never gets knocked out, ever. So you're telling me Max Holloway's going to be in this fight throughout the whole fight, and you still have Ilia? I disagree. I think Max Holloway can really get this thing done in those later rounds, enough to get him either by a decision or get a late round KO against Ilia.
I mean, it seems like it's all about the long game, right? Like those first 1 or 2 rounds is a warm up. All right, let me see what my opponent can do. But it's really, it's a metaphor, right? The guy who can last longest in the ring.
Exactly.
That's really what the story of UFC is all about. Especially, I mean, this is featherweight, right? So these guys are a lot smaller than, the bigger guys, so they usually can last a little bit longer. But Max Holloway, man, he's making headline news. He's a great fighter. He's been around for some time too, but this should be a good one. Now, it's interesting. My last question before we wrap up here, Gabe, is this is being, all these events are overseas, right? Like, it seems like if it's in America, like it's, 3 or 4 times a year. This one's being fought in the Middle East.
Yep.
So, like, how do you think that affects these guys' bodies in terms of, like, the time difference?
Normally, I'd say it has a big effect, right? But they've been doing so many events overseas, and especially in Abu Dhabi and different areas in the Middle East. So I think it won't be too big of a factor. If anything, like you said, I don't think it'll be a factor for the people coming in, but I think it'll be a bonus for the people that are used to fighting there.
Right.
Khamzat Chimaev fights there all the time. Shara, who we didn't mention, the one-eyed bandit, he's fighting on this card, and he literally can't fight in America because he's blind in one eye. They won't let him. So a lot of fighters have advantages just being close to home, especially in these fights, for sure.
Interesting. All right, so you're taking a Brazilian. You're going against a Brazilian.
Mm-hmm.
You have an Australian. Yeah, so all right. And then you're bringing home the USA for the win. I like it.
USA. We need gold back. That's a good point, Matt. We need gold back in America. I think we only have one United States champion currently, to my recollection.
Well,
and that's John Jones.
Dude, I will say you have been pretty hot on the picks lately. This one better not disappoint. I don't care. You could go. I'm not gonna speak this and put this out into the universe, Gabe. But if there's one bet you get right tomorrow night, it better be Max Holloway.
I'm hoping, Matt. And honestly, if we're looking at the lines that I just chose, if you go 3 and 2, screw it. If you go 2 and 3 on these picks, you're winning money if you put 100 on each thing. So if you really look at the risk reward, I think it's perfect. It's a perfect balance. You only need if Robert Whittaker wins plus 600, you bet 100, you win $600. So like that would be making the whole field. Let alone in the other fights where I feel a lot more strongly just by taking those money lines. I mean, I think Chris Barnett or Robert Whittaker or Max Holloway, those 3 big ones, if they get the job done, that's big money for the boys.
Yep. All right, almost at 100 subscribers. So hit that sub button, ride Gabe's picks, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace!